Thank you, Carl. When I was on my way to worship at that other place where I sometimes go to worship, I heard, now I'm trying to say his name, I can't, the Italian singer, Pavarotti, thank you, singing O Holy Night in English and Italian. And I sat in the car until it was over and said, boy, that was my holy moment for the Christmas season. And then in worship, a young woman in the congregation sang the Magnificat, and it was breathtaking. And I said, oh, 2 holy moments for the Christmas season. And I was looking for the trifecta. Karen and Dan, thank you. Let us go to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place. That is what the shepherds said after the angels had left them. It was not enough to just receive the birth announcement. Somewhere deep within them, there was something that said that they needed to be a part of the thing that had taken place. So after the angels' good news, they went to see, because it wasn't just an announcement, it was a calling. They had to go. They had to see. They left their flocks, which, it was not a really easy thing to do. During their time, there was the village, and outside of the village was the farmland. They were probably not owners of the sheep, but poorly paid employees of the landowner who owned the sheep. And it probably wasn't, like a 5 or 10 minute walk. It might have taken a while. And can you imagine of shepherds leaving their flocks to the wild animals, the elements, to whatever, in the length of time that it would probably have taken them to go into Bethlehem, find that place where this had taken place. But yet, something had spurred them to go and to see. So they left their flocks and they went to the manger. And in doing that, they moved from the event of Christmas to the experience of Christmas, of the birth of Christ. They needed to be a part of that birth experience. So they went to the manger. They made the Christmas story their own, and I hope that we do too. I want us to be like the shepherds. I do not want us to just talk about Bethlehem, but I want us to go to Bethlehem. I want us to not sort of sit around and try to figure out the meaning of this thing that has taken place. I want us to move from the event of Christmas to the experience of Christmas. I want to ask you a question. What is your Christmas experience? What is your Christmas story? I'm not asking about your family traditions, the gifts you exchange, the food you eat, the way you celebrate Christmas. I want to hear about your Christmas experience, your story. When have you, like the shepherds, gone to Bethlehem to see this thing that has taken place? I want to hear about a time when you knew that the life in the manger, that you held that life in the manger of Jesus' birth. I want you to tell me a time when you cradled new life, new hope, new opportunities. I'm asking this because I think too often we leave ourselves out of the Christmas story. We always say, the Christmas story, that's Mary and Joseph and Jesus, and let me see, there were some angels and some shepherds, and then we don't see ourselves as being essential characters and participants in the Christmas story. I wonder if we become so focused on the participants, the characters, the circumstances of the story that we forget, and we become the forgotten characters in the story. When we leave ourselves out of that story, the experience of Christmas, then it just becomes another thing of history. And we might as well just sing happy birthday and go on our way and forget about, "O come, all ye faithful." But let us not do that. Let us not miss the beauty and the breadth of the Christmas story and leave it lost into those historical particulars that we read about and talk about each year. Because you see, the story, the experience is bigger than that. When we look at the book of Luke, and that's oftentimes the basis for our hearing the Christmas story, we get caught up in the circumstances that are laid out there, the specific things, a specific place, a specific time, and a specific way. But you see, those do not limit or define or contain within it just all of the circumstances that are involved in the manger with the child that is there. It just means that we need to look for and to experience his birth in our circumstances, in our own lives. Jesus was born in the particularities of life, his and ours then and now. So where do we go to see this thing that has taken place? And what does it look like? We'll start with the circumstances of your own life. What does the manger of your life hold? Hope, fear, sorrow, joy? Maybe there's grief and life at the center of your life. Maybe there is thanksgiving and abundance. Maybe there's emptiness, a lack of meaning, a darkness that lie in your manger. Are you holding on to guilt, to resentments, to regrets? Is your manger, is it full of pain? Why? Where does it hurt? Your life is filled with maybe unexpected joy. But what lives in your cradle of your life, whatever it is, whatever your circumstances, that is where you meet the child. The manger of your life and the manger of Jesus are not separate. They are two different ways of describing the same thing. There's only one manger. And if Jesus is not born in our real lives, yours and mine, in our everyday circumstances, then it's as though Jesus were not born anywhere. Because it's from that manger that we're given new life, new hope, and new possibilities. You see, that manger holds more than the circumstances and a baby. It always has. The shepherds went to see this thing that had taken place. They went to Bethlehem that night, and they found the baby lying in a manger. But they did not see all that was there. They did not get even an idea of what all that manger held. It held the peace with which Jesus calmed the storm. It held the eyes by which a blind man saw. It held the freedom of a woman caught in adultery. It held the living water given to the Samaritan woman at the well. It held Jesus' tears as he wept over Jerusalem. It held acceptance for others who were outcasts, the marginalized. It held acceptance for all people, all creation. It held the shepherds before God and God before the shepherds, and it still does today. So whenever you have experienced your life being nourished, grown, enlarged, anytime you have received or offered forgiveness, when you have seen the world with new eyes, whenever you have awakened to a deeper and profound meaning in your life, every time you have united yourself with the pain of creation, whenever you have experienced light pushing back the darkness, whenever you have seen the impossible become reality, when you have looked at the face of another and seen the baby, whenever you have joined your life to another's and held nothing back, when you have looked and seen the pain in and around you and could connect, whenever you have carried through consolation and strength, let it carry you through loss and sorrow. Anytime you have felt yourself loved, not because of what you did or what you might do, but somebody just loved you because you were you. Whenever you have remembered or reclaimed that you are a beloved daughter or a beloved son of God, whenever you have experienced any of those and 1,000 others just like them, you have gone to Bethlehem and you have seen this thing that has taken place. The Holy Child is born. The Holy One of God has been born anew in your life, in your place, in your time. There's no single Christmas experience. There are endless numbers of Christmas stories, and they are happening all the time. Remember what the angel told the shepherds? I bring you good tidings, great tidings of great joy for all people, not just some, not just for the good, not just for those who believe, but all people. No one is left out. So when have you been to Bethlehem? What did you see? What is your experience?